Hey, Shalom. Double honor to the apostles of GreatMillStone. Honestly, brothers that be pushing, honestly, brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Or praise unto Yahweh Shemi Shai. Okay, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai. Okay, so I wanted to do a video on this statement made here that the business of America is war. Okay, and this is in the wake of the so-called petro yuan. And the statement was made by Gerald Celente, which is an economics type guru out there. And I'm going to go to read this article, and I'm going to go through some scriptures and so on and so forth. But see, pretty much when you read the first statement that's made here, you start thinking about the scriptures and how pretty much how the Mosai is used, really the elite, the Mosai are using the elite banking families, okay, the so-called Jews, have navigated have basically set America up as the country that was gonna smite these nations with a continual stroke, right? Persistent war. In fact, I got an article here that goes into saying that America needs to have war every 4 years to maintain economic growth. Okay, so let's start off within the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter, to show you all of this that's happening out here is all biblical. Okay, it's all according to prophecy. It's all according to the order that Yahweh Shemi Shai has set forth in motion. So this is Isaiah 14 and 6. It says, "He who smote the people with a continuing stroke, okay, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth." So what you got here is you got a statement made within the scriptures about how a particular nation was gonna smite other people with a continuing stroke. Okay, and that's the same way the Esau has ruled these nations. He has ruled this nation he has ruled these nations in anger. When you go into the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter, it tells you that Esau's blessing, or more the 27th chapter, it tells you that Esau's blessing was the sword. Okay, in fact, that would be a good scripture just to get in this particular video, because it goes to merit that article that we're reading over there, in that America needs to have war every 4 years to maintain economic growth. And the other thing that Gerald Celente was saying, that pretty much the business of America is the business of war. Okay, putting people to death so you can understand. And that's why we say America is going to be destroyed, because guess what? If like the scripture says within the book of Revelations, if America wasn't destroyed, there wasn't going to be no flesh left to save, man. Okay, so let's go to the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter. All right, and this is talking about Jacob and Esau, and dudes are like, look, why are you reading about Jacob and Esau? Because Jacob and Esau are the two geezers upon the face of the planet right now. Okay, two nations upon the face of the planet right now. Okay, or with whom power was going to be transferred from and to. When you go to the book of 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter and the 9th verse, it says, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay, so we're in a time of Esau's rule right now, and we know that Esau is the wicked, because we know that the descendants of Esau later changed their name to be the Edomians and so on and so forth. And those same, when you read the book of Maccabees, it couples the Edom and the Greeks. It couples them. Okay, how they went into how they went amidst the Greeks and in the land of Idumea, something around thereabouts. But pretty much this is the wicked that the scripture talks about, because when the Greeks came into power, you had all manner of wickedness and lewdness perpetuate through the world. But not only that, you had death, because the way they had to rule these nations was to rule these nations in anger, man. They ruled these nations with a sword in hand all the time. Okay? So this is Genesis, the 27th chapter and the 39th verse. It says, "And Isaac, his father, answered and said, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth." And you talk about the geographical location that Esau was situated in back within the biblical ancient times. You will find out that Esau was situated out there, okay, right, spot bang on the King's Highway, right, which was the fatness of the earth. So you had all types of merchandise popping up within that region. And now too, you got the same thing happening. Okay, all traffic flows through Rome. Okay, the modern day iteration of Rome. Okay, so it says, "Thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. By thy sword shalt thou live, and serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass that when you have a dominion that shall break the yoke from off his neck." Okay, so by the sword shalt thou live. And when you read this article right here, Well, that goes hand in hand, man. The U.S. needs war every 4 years to maintain economic growth. That's the same thing that's being said right here in Genesis, the 27th chapter. Okay, by thy sword shalt thou live. Now let's start off first and foremost with Gerald Celente. We'll read a few quotes from that. Then we'll read a few quotes from Zero Hedge, and that was posted 2 years ago. This Gerald Celente article was posted a couple of minutes ago. Okay, so it says, while the United States is concentrated on war, China wants economic prosperity. But see, in order to maintain economic prosperity, all right, which will later transpire into economic superiority, you need to quail, okay, any uprisings. Okay, when you read about these ancient empires and these ancient kingdoms that existed upon the face of the earth, pretty much what we find out is these guys that rose up and ruled the earth, and they was doing their thing, the Medo-Persians, the Assyrians, and so on and so forth. These are the same guys, okay, that had to go out there and war, because if you had a particular rebellion, well, guess what? That particular rebellion was going to come as a competitive economy and a competitive destination for the people that you were supposed to be ruling over, or the kingdom that you had rule over. And the same thing transpires into what China's doing. See, what China's doing in terms of looking for economic prosperity is actually an uprising. That's why the scripture talks about there shall be unrest. So you got civil unrest in terms of people fighting each other, and then you also got civil unrest in terms of the economy. Okay, because that physical civil unrest that happens by way of people wanting to fight each other comes by way of what? Comes by way of people wanting to be economically free. Okay, because there are economic sanctions that you can put upon the persons that are likened unto slavery. Okay, and when people are looking for prosperity out of those economic shackles, if you will, all right, that's known as rebellion when you're talking about having rule over and having rule with an economic hegemony. Okay, so let's read this. It says, so while the United States is concentrated on war, and we're going to read why it needs to concentrate on war to keep that economic superiority. The hegemony that America has, that economic hegemony that America has, is and has always been based upon war. Okay, that's one thing that these people need to understand. So you got people out there saying, "Oh, we had terrorist attacks and we need to get rid of the Muslims." No, when you read the scriptures pretty much say that you're the terrorist. Okay, and by way of your actions, you've shown yourself to be the terrorist. Okay, because wherever you go, there comes death after, man. Okay, in fact, if I go to the scriptures again, and I go to the book of Habakkuk, okay, or Habakkuk, the second chapter, you're going to see the same thing within the book of Habakkuk, the second chapter. Now, I'm going to go straight to the point. I'll go to the 8th verse. It says, thou hast spoiled many nations, and all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee because of men's blood. Right? And for the violence of the land and of the cities and all of them that dwell therein. Okay? And that's pretty much self-explanatory, because, man, this man is the devil, man. War is in his heart at all times. Okay? He's going to be killing at all times. And that's how he rules this kingdom. That's how he maintains economic superiority. Now, what's going to give us economic superiority when we get into the kingdom is what you read about within the book of Isaiah, the 60th chapter. How these nations are going to come to learn of our ways, the ways of Jacob, man. Okay, which is the laws, statutes, commandments the Most High is going to impregnate within our mind as pursuant to the book of Hebrews, the 8th chapter and the 8th verse. Okay, so now let's see the point I really wanted here. It says, who enlargeth his desires is hell. That's the one. That's the bit I'm looking for. So I know it's right here in my face somewhere. Here we go. So Habakkuk 2 and 5 says, yet also he transgresseth by wine, which is democracy. Okay, Christianity. Those are all forms of wine. Okay, and the scripture says within the book of Jeremiah, the 51st chapter, Babylon has been a golden cup within the Lord's hand, and he was going to pour what do you call it? He was going to pour all of those philosophies that was in that golden cup that Babylon was given upon all of these nations to the point that they was mad. And that's what they are right now. Okay, you got the Chinese, the gooks out there, they're trying to be American businessmen. Okay, their women are completely out of order now, or not completely, but they're on the road to. And the same thing applies for the Saudi Arabians, all of these different countries that had some type of sense not too long ago. Now here's the point. It says, neither keepeth at home. Okay, this is the fulfillment of that. Okay, the business of America is the biggest business of war. America needs war every 4 years. This is scriptures in living color. Okay, I think the battery's gonna run out in a second, so I'm gonna have to go to a charging point. Okay, bear with me. Okay, but this is the reality that we are, that we exist in right now. Okay, right, where you have a devil ruling. Okay, Lord's will this doesn't cut out, by the way. You have a devil ruling, and here we go. I told you battery was nearly done. Okay, Ian. There we go. Okay, we got some power now. Okay, you got the devil ruling, and his only way to maintain that superior powers that he's got is the war that he wages with these people. That's why the scripture says, he who enlarges his desires as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, and gathereth unto himself all nations, and heapeth unto himself all people. Let's go back to the articles now. Okay, right. The business of China, is business. Okay, which I'm not concerned about China. Okay, the business of America is war. Okay, and they go into it. And, they explain that, Trump's doing this and Xi Jinping, whatever his name is, doing whatever. But the point from this article is made. Now, let's go to this one. It says, the U.S. needs war every 4 years to maintain economic growth. This is not a secret, okay, explains Chris Roman, director of Geopolitical Research Center, Bureau Rus. Right? The whole U.S. economy is built on military. Right? On the military theme to maintain its economic growth, the U.S. needs a war every 4 years, otherwise economic growth slows down. Now you know why they was out there waging the war on terror, etc., etc. Now obviously multi goals are reached. Okay, dependent, different goals are reached. What am I trying to say? I'm saying you can reach different goals, right, with war. So for instance, the goal in turning the Arab world into a hotspot, and in turn leading to the so-called World War III and the New World Order. Well, that could be done while still trying to maintain the so-called economic superiority that America had. Okay, so let's carry on. It says the Belgian expert believes that with with the collapse of the USSR, NATO should have stopped existing, but somehow the alliance has grown to the size of the universe. Because the motto "the Russians are coming" is relevant again. In the 25 years since the collapse of the Soviet Union, NATO has not forgotten even for a moment about the idea of an attack of Russia, but they had no pretext. Now, due to the chaos in the Ukraine, this opportunity appeared is actively developed. The older generation, which had been brought up on the propaganda against the Soviet Union, has already accepted the idea of an inevitable conflict with Russia. Okay, so it says for America, this is unacceptable. All right, the whole economy of the country is built on a military theme to maintain economic growth. It's because again, it says they're gonna be in that war for every 4 years, and it gives you the quote who said it. And this article was basically posted. This was posted in 2015 on the 4th of July, and you can read the rest for yourself. But I believe my point is pretty much made. So with that, I'm gonna say all praise unto Yahweh Shem Yahshai. Okay, double honors to the apostles of GreatMillStone. Okay, honor you brothers to be pushing the truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom.